The moment the HOA sent me that cold, stiff letter saying I had to take down my Christmas lights because they violated community aesthetic guidelines and were distracting to neighbors, I felt like all the joy had been sucked right out of the holiday season. I had spent weeks carefully decorating my home with thousands of twinkling lights, handcrafted ornaments, and a giant inflatable Santa that my kids adored. But the HOA's ultimatum felt like a slap in the face, not just to me, but to the spirit of the entire neighborhood. And I wasn't about to let some bureaucratic group of self-appointed design police ruin Christmas for my family or my community. So instead of packing everything away quietly, I decided to respond in a way they'd never expect, turning my home into a dazzling, rebellious masterpiece that challenged every rule they'd thrown at me, but did so with style, creativity, and a message they couldn't ignore. I began by researching every clause in the HOA, bylaws about decorations, lighting, and property appearance, digging deep to find loopholes, vague wording, and ambiguous phrases, all while secretly plotting my next move. The letter said no flashing lights, no excessive brightness, and no non-traditional holiday displays, but it never explicitly banned art installations or light shows that blurred the lines between holiday spirit and artistic expression. Armed with that knowledge, I hired a local light artist and a few friends who specialized in projection mapping and digital displays. And together, we transformed my house into a stunning canvas of light, color, and motion that turned heads from the moment the sun went down. Instead of simple string lights, my home exploded with flowing patterns of shimmering snowflakes, glowing reindeer prancing across my facade, and vibrant scenes that told a story and narrative of community, family, and resilience, while the music synchronized perfectly with the visuals, creating a sensory experience that felt more like an immersive holiday art exhibit than a suburban decoration. The neighbors started gathering on their porches. Kids pressed their faces against windows, and even passers-by slowed down, phones out, capturing the spectacle that had erupted in the middle of our quiet cul-de-sac. Meanwhile, the HOA board scrambled, confused and furious, sending emails and making phone calls demanding I shut it all down immediately, threatening hefty fines and legal action. But by then, the community was already buzzing with excitement and support for what I'd created. One particularly cold evening, the HOA president showed up at my door, face red with frustration, insisting I comply with the rules or face consequences. But I invited her inside for hot cocoa and a closer look at the setup, explaining how every light and projection was designed with care, respect, and artistic merit, not to mention fully compliant with the letter of their own regulations. Even as I subtly played a slideshow of the community's children laughing and marveling at the display. That night, something shifted. Instead of confrontation, we found common ground in the joy the installation was bringing to everyone around, and I proposed a compromise: turn the annual holiday lighting into a community event, with rotating displays on different homes, sanctioned and celebrated by the HOA, rather than fought over and suppressed. Word spread quickly through social media, and local news channels picked up the story, dubbing it a Christmas lights revolution, highlighting how one homeowner had turned a conflict with a rigid HOA into an opportunity for creativity, unity, and community pride. What started as a simple desire to keep my Christmas decorations up evolved into a movement that challenged the very nature of what a neighborhood could be, one where rules served the people, not stifled their expression, and my artful defiance became a catalyst for change, leading the HOA board to rewrite their guidelines, allowing for artistic holiday displays with reasonable time limits and safety measures, while encouraging neighbors to collaborate rather than compete. By Christmas Eve, the entire street was aglow with festive lights, each home telling its own story, no longer fearing fines but celebrating together, while I stood back with a sense of satisfaction that went beyond the flicker of bulbs. The Joy of knowing that I'd stood up, pushed back, and transformed an oppressive no into a community-wide yes. And as my kids danced beneath the swirling lights, eyes wide with wonder, I realized that this was more than just a victory over an HOA letter. It was a reminder that sometimes the best way to fight rules is not by breaking them outright, but by creatively rewriting the narrative so that everyone wins. And that's exactly the kind of Christmas spirit that no HOA can ever take away.